Hello,
Okay, well,
friends.
hello.
Eli was
Okay.
supposed. I was gonna.
We guess the private chat got delayed.
No, because I have to do something. So Eli, I needed Eli to do, but it's okay. Welcome
Okay,
everyone
well,
to the
welcome
12th.
everyone.
Go ahead, Eli.
Got it. I just,
I don't even know anymore. Go ahead.
I got it. All right,
Yeah,
we'll
go
figure it
ahead.
out. Welcome to the 12th Horseshoe Podcast on Surge Sports, the final episode of 2023. We finally made it to a new year, and we have a whole lot to talk about, including the biggest news of the week, including Russell Wilson being cut from the Denver Broncos, all for money, and all to make the coach happy. Of course, the Denver Broncos have a 6% chance of making it to the playoffs. It is a huge
Better than
decision.
0%.
Better than zero, you're right. But this is basically coming down to the possibility to be the worst trade in the NFL. Going down necessarily. This is absolutely crazy, everything that's happening. And keep in mind, the Broncos have gave up so much to Seattle and just in general, just to get him. They gave Seattle Drew Lock, Noah Fant, Shelby Harris, Charles Cross. They gave up picks of Charles Cross, Boy Mafe, Tyreek Smith, Davon Witherspoon, who's now incredibly huge in Seattle, and Derek Hall all around. So that is just huge.
Very lopsided trade indeed.
Yeah, so that was
Who would've
all.
thought?
I would just want to say one thing real quick before we'll get to Jack's thoughts. As a Seahawks fan, like you sometimes feel bad for the situation because of the money. Like, not because of the money, but because just like, have 2 games left, just let him play. It's, give him one more year and then decide what to do. But I get the situation. A lot of money is being costed, and he's not really, he did okay this year. He wasn't bad, but he did okay this year. He could have done better, absolutely, but he definitely did okay this year. If you ask me, where would he end up if he did not go? My money would be on the New England Patriots. They need a
That's
quarterback, so I would give it to the Patriots. I know somebody says the Cardinals, Commanders, the Falcons, the Vikings. What about the Chargers? No, not Chargers. Commanders. What about all those teams? I see the Patriots because they really got no quarterback. They've been switching quarterbacks left and right, and even with Bill Belichick possibly being the issue according to the fans, it's definitely the quarterback that has some things to do with it. So I would definitely say the Patriots would need the quarterback. But Jack, let's get to your thoughts. So, what are your thoughts on this whole Russell Wilson situation,
well.
and who would you say he would be going to next?
Well, first off, let me just say that this is definitely not Russell Wilson's fault. Maybe
Absolutely.
last year you could argue, but I was still, in my opinion, Nathaniel Hackett's fault for last year because at least Denver was contending this year. But I think the problem lies more so on Sean Payton and the coaching staff, just not giving Russ the best opportunity to win, not playing behind a good old line. Russ basically having to play hero every week just to get the Broncos wins. And they had a fun story bouncing back from a 1-5 start. It just caught up to them. Their luck is caught up to them, though. Now it's a couple 3 losses now in their last 4 games. This is not on Russ, in my opinion. This is more so on Denver's defense. I mean, they gave up 42 points to the Lions last week. Of course, they gave up 70 points earlier in the season. So
Right.
I don't think this is all on Russ. But at the same time, Sean Payton was not here when Russell Wilson was traded to the Broncos. So to be fair, the Broncos don't really owe any loyalty to Russ. But I'm definitely shocked by it. I do feel kind of bad for us because really it's not his fault. He's been doing his best all year trying to get the wins. But
He's improved from last year 100%. I would give you that.
yeah, so I understand why Denver's doing it. I mean, it's a lot of money, and they probably just need to rebuild or just find a new quarterback and just start fresh. But let me tell you why I disagree with the Patriots. I understand the logic, but at the same time, the Patriots are going to have a top 5 draft pick in next year's draft, and this is one of the best quarterback classes we've had in years. Probably the best one since. I mean, last year was pretty good, but there's a lot.
You also have to consider. Bro, go ahead.
Yeah. There's a lot more quantity. Maybe the quality isn't as good as last year. There's a ton of quarterbacks. Obviously, you have Caleb Williams and Drake made the top 2, but then you have, JJ McCarthy, Michael Penix, Quinn Ewers, Bo Nix. I'm definitely forgetting a few, but there are so many good quarterbacks in next year's draft. So the Patriots are just going to find one of those. Obviously, we all know they're going to move on from Bill Belichick. I feel like that's
already given.
Yeah, pretty much. So I disagree on that. I think a good landing spot for Russell Wilson is going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers, actually. I'm going to tell you why. One, the Steelers are not going to be bad enough to have a high draft pick next year to take a quarterback. And 2, they're a very good team with lots of talent on defense, on offense. They just don't have a quarterback. And I don't really know if Kenny Pickett's going to be starting next year. I don't know about Mason Rudolph. I definitely don't see Mitch Trubisky. Russ could be the perfect fit there. You pair him with a former Super Bowl winning head coach and Mike Tomlin, guy who's, both of them who's been there before. And I don't know. I think Russ to Pittsburgh could be a really good fit. A lot of people are saying, though, that he might go back to Seattle, Eli. I know you're not going to want him back, but that's just what I've heard. But
I know. I've heard it, too. There's a lot of people saying Seattle. I don't say we get him back. I don't think so. We paid when we gave him more money. We gave him more money. He was horrible. When we gave him less money, he played good. And I feel like that will be a continuous pattern. He will not come back to Seattle. That is just what Russ wants and a few fans want. But that is not what I'm sure Seattle wants or Pete Carroll wants. I can guarantee you that much.
Well, Eli, you can bash Russ all you want, but don't forget that he led y'all to your only Super Bowl win ever.
Right, that is true.
By 35 over a.
Who says that we can get it this year? There's no rule that says we can get it.
Hey, I'm not counting you guys out.
There's no rule yet. We may not made a playoffs, but there's opportunities. It could be that we beat them. Keep in mind, the top two teams other than the 49ers, we beat, and that is the Eagles and the Lions. Just keep in mind. Very true. So we can still easily get a landing in the playoff spot.
Hey, I'm not counting the Seahawks out of the lane. Don't count the Colts out either, because we've had a lot of we did beat the Ravens, the best team in the NFL. I still don't know how that happened, but we did beat the Ravens earlier in the season. But
that's not the only that's not only the only quarterback thing that happened this week. Giants Tommy DeVito is now benched. Tyrod Taylor is now going to start for the Giants. And coincidentally, I had a cutlet right before they made the announcement. So
oh boy.
Sorry, Bobby. No, they'll not beat the Seahawks. The Seahawks will win.
Bobby, we were talking a lot of crap about me and the Colts, about you guys beating us, and then you lost by 17. So be careful trashing Eli and the Seahawks here, because one, the game is in Seattle, which is maybe the toughest stadium to play in, and two, the Seahawks have they have the more talented team, and they are on a hotter winning streak. I know the Steelers won last week, but I just don't think they're going to win this week. But we have to get to that in a second. And don't forget, Eli, that the Vikings have benched Nick Mullins and are going to start rookie Jaron Hall from BYU.
And Commanders are benching Sam Howell, Jacob.
Yeah, for Jacoby Brissett. Yep. I love Jacoby. He was with the Colts for a couple of years. Love the way that guy played. But a lot of benchings here late in the season. Very interesting. But let's get into the picks. So let's.
And by the way, the Christmas Day games in the NFL beat the NBA records
by far. Not even close.
20 million.
NFL is way better than the NBA on Christmas.
So congrats on the NFL.
NFL Christmas is greater than NBA Christmas. The NFL is, a lot of people say this has been a boring year, but I've had so much fun watching football this year.
Absolutely.
Because it's been so unpredictable. Who saw the Raiders going into Kansas City and beating the Chiefs last week?
Yeah, and who thought the Dolphins would beat Denver by 70 points, would win by 70?
Yeah, so many crazy things in the NFL. Or who thought that Josh Dobbs would have that crazy run for like 2 weeks and then fall off the face of the earth? So many weird things have happened. We had, just so many crazy upsets. We had the Colts over Baltimore week 3. We had Tennessee shock Miami on Monday night a couple of weeks ago. Came back from 14 down with under 3 minutes to go. Oh my goodness. It's been absolutely crazy. The Lions are first division title in 30 years. Just so many, the Chiefs that looking really not as good as they've had in past years. Crazy year, Eli. The story of the tush push and how it only works for the Eagles. So many crazy storylines this year. But
absolutely. Let's get right to the picks. By the way,
wait, I'm gonna host. I just need you to do the intro, Eli. I'm sorry.
Well, back to Jack.
Thank you, Eli. All right, let's start off. So actually, the game coming up in about 35 minutes from now. The Jets and the Browns take on the Browns in Cleveland. The Browns are a 7.5 point favorite. We both picked the Browns to win. No Amari Cooper tonight for the Browns, dealing with a heel injury. That is big news. Especially for fantasy football owners, because this is championship week. So Eli and I will have lots of insight on fantasy football for these picks, tell you who to play and who not to play. I won the championship last year here in week 17. I'm not in it this year, but I'll give you guys some advice if you need it.
I'm out since day one, so yeah.
By the way, Cleveland is in the playoffs if they win tonight, or if Pittsburgh or with a Pittsburgh loss, or with a Buffalo loss. So as long as, Cleveland, though, really the easiest way for Cleveland is just to take care of business tonight over the Jets. And they are in the playoffs for the second time in 4 years. What a fun story. The Browns
we made a Thursday night pick already on Tuesday. So for the scores, check back in the last video on Tuesday.
Here, Cleveland has 5 stars. They can either win, or they can have 1 Pittsburgh lose, 2 Buffalo lose, 3 Jacksonville lose, or 4 Indianapolis and Houston lose. So Cleveland most likely will be in the playoffs by this week. I definitely think one of those scenarios is going to happen. Most likely they're just going to win tonight and secure their spot. So what a season it's been for the Browns. 4 different starting quarterbacks, but they are on the verge of a playoff berth. And they're still not out of the race for the AFC North Division title either.
Absolutely.
All right, let's get to first we have a Saturday game to discuss. And I actually didn't know this at first, but now I know the reason why they're playing this game on Saturday is because Monday is when on the New Year's is when all the New Year's Six Bowls for college football happen, and the college football playoff is Monday night. So they moved the Monday night game for Week 17 to Saturday night, and it is a great game too. The game taking place in Jerry's World, the 11-4 Detroit Lions against the 10-5 Dallas Cowboys. Dallas is a 6-point favorite. The Lions, of course, have already clinched the NFC North Division title, and they're going to host a playoff game for the first time in 3 decades. Meanwhile, the Cowboys they're in the playoffs, but they are still fighting for an NFC East Division title. I'll start off with the picks first. The Cowboys have not lost at home this year. They are a perfect 7-0 at home, and quite simply, they're more desperate than the Lions are. The Lions have already won the NFC North Division title, so really, I mean, they're still not out of the number 1 seed yet, but I think they're going to probably either be the number 2 or number 3 seed. And I think the Cowboys are a little more desperate than the Lions. So I'm going to take the Cowboys to win at home, 34-19. This is no disrespect at all to the Lions. It's just 1, the Cowboys, when they're home, are a very dangerous team. And 2, they are simply more desperate, which is why they're going to come out and play as well as they will. So give me the Cowboys to win on Saturday night.
Two things I'm going to put out there real quick. I think also, I don't think nobody wants a Monday night game on the New Year's Day. I think that's the start. Plus, you have all the college games happening, so I think that's number 1. So that is the reason I think. And plus, you have all the college games. So kudos to moving it to Saturday. And plus, Jimmy Johnson will be inducted to the Ring of Honor, if I'm not mistaken, this weekend. So congrats to him. He is a Fox analyst, by the way. For my pick, the Cowboys haven't, even though they lost last week in Miami, they have not lost at home. They will continue up with that streak. So I'm going to take the Dallas Cowboys to beat the Detroit Lions 33-21, and a little bit of a 12-point blowout there in Dallas.
Okay. Yeah, definitely agree with that. By the way, if for fantasy, start CeeDee Lamb, Jake Ferguson, start a lot of pass catchers for the Cowboys.
Absolutely.
The Lions have one of the worst pass defenses in the NFL, and they are not good at all against the tight end. So if you have Jake Ferguson or CeeDee Lamb, make sure. Well, we all know CeeDee Lamb's going to start, but if you have Jake Ferguson, that could be a wild card potentially on championship weekend. Again, the Lions defense, one of the worst in the NFL against the tight ends. Next up, let's go to the Sunday games. There's a lot of Sunday games, Eli. We have 10 1 o'clock games on Sunday afternoon. It is going to be
Scott Hansen to the rescue.
Yep, it is going to be a very packed Sunday. I cannot wait. I love these packed Sunday afternoons. Let's just start off with game of the week, game of the year. I don't even know, but it is our game of the week here on the 12th Horseshoe Podcast. The game that will determine most likely the number 1 seed in the AFC in 2023. The Miami Dolphins on the road against the Baltimore Ravens. Miami 11-4, Baltimore 12-3. The Ravens are a 3-point favorite at home. Jalen Waddle unlikely to play for the Dolphins due to his injury. It should be an interesting game, though. It's the 2 best teams in the AFC this year. 2 explosive offenses. The Miami offense versus the Baltimore defense is going to be really, really fun to watch, I think. This game is in Baltimore, though. The Ravens are the 3-point favorites. Eli, who do you think is going to win this game? And who do you think is going to be the number 1 team in the AFC? The Ravens are the number 1 seed in the AFC if they win on Sunday.
There is just one thing I have to say. The Miami Dolphins are really not a good team. I'll start with that.
Oh.
They're a good team. They're not going to go far in the playoffs. That's my first take.
Wow. Okay.
And you have this Baltimore Ravens team who is super hot. Super hot, where they just beat the San Francisco 49ers in an incredible fashion on Monday night. So, I'm going to take the Ravens in a 29-21 victory. I'm going to give them a little extra points. I feel like it's going to go with 2-point conversions, all touchdown game, but I think Ravens will seal the deal and get the victory over the Dolphins. I think the Ravens have it. They're home. That's better energy, number 1. And the Ravens really want that number 1 seed this year. They have it. Miami, can't trust them too much. So I'm going to take the Ravens 29-21.
I agree. I have the Ravens winning actually 20-12 in a convincing fashion. Every tough road game the Dolphins have had this year, they have been blown out. They were blown out by Buffalo by 28 on the road in week 4. They were blown out by Philly on the road in week 7 by 14. And then they lost in Germany, I'm sorry, to Kansas City 21-14, but it was 21-0 at the halftime. So give me the Baltimore Ravens here at home. Lamar Jackson's going to have a big week against the Dolphins. And again, if you have the Ravens defense, they're going to score lots of points in fantasy because when good defenses play against Tua, they force turnovers. And that is what's going to happen with the Ravens defense. So give me the Baltimore Ravens to become the number 1 seed in the AFC for the first time since 2019. Let's just hope it goes better than 2019 because in 2019 they were eliminated in their first game in the playoffs in the second round. Next up, 1 o'clock. And that game is, by the way, on CBS. Let me just mention that. I think I forgot to mention that. Next up, another game on CBS, 1 o'clock in an AFC North showdown. The 4-11 New England Patriots on the road against the 9-6 Buffalo Bills. Before we start, Eli, we cannot forget that New England, despite the rough season they still have the greatest head coach of all time in Bill Belichick. He went into Denver, beat the Broncos last week. They played extremely well against the Kansas City Chiefs. They've won some other games this season, games they shouldn't have. Do you think there is a chance that New England could play spoiler on Sunday in Buffalo? And remember, they beat Buffalo back in week 7 in New England.
No. Plain answer, no. I don't think so. Buffalo looks too talented. They still want a playoff spot. They're not in it yet. They want a playoff spot. They want to secure it this weekend. And the fact that they're in Buffalo says that Buffalo will win. So I think that's number 1. The Patriots, yes, they've been winning a few games. Yes, you can make a point, you can make a statement, you can argue. But the Buffalo Bills need that playoff spot, and they want to win now. So I'm going to take the Buffalo Bills 32-10.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I do agree with Buffalo winning, but I don't know. Just something about this New England team that's going to make me think they're going to play really hard on Sunday. So I only have Buffalo winning by 6. I have a 16-10 win for the Buffalo Bills at home.
Yeah.
Still a win, Buffalo. Don't get mad at me, but I mean, you guys did struggle against the Chargers last week. Nearly lost to them. Maybe should have lost, but you didn't. So just beware. The Patriots are not going to be an easy team to play against. I know they're 4-11. I know they haven't been good this year, but just be careful about the Patriots. And by the way, there is a scenario where Buffalo clinches the playoffs this weekend. There's like 14 different scenarios. I'm not going to read them all, but basically they just need to win and they need the other teams in the wild card hunt to lose, and then Buffalo is in. Otherwise, they could just win their final 2 games and get in that way. So
yeah,
we both have the Bills winning though. Buffalo, Vegas agrees with you, Eli. Buffalo is a 13-point favorite, so they do not think this game will be close at all. I beg to differ, but I still have Buffalo winning. Next up, 1 o'clock on CBS. Despite this being an NFC game, we have a crossover on CBS. It is the Atlanta Falcons and the Chicago Bears. The Falcons are still alive in the NFC South Division title race, but they are on the outside looking in. Meanwhile, Chicago is somehow still alive in the NFC playoff race. This game is in Chicago. The Bears playing very, very well. I believe they have won 3. I believe they've won 2 of their last 3. I believe they've won, 3. They've won 3 of their last 4. So Chicago's starting to look a little better. Falcons, as we know, are a wishy-washy team. Stealing your catchphrase there, Eli. The Bears are the 3-point favorites at home. The Bears finally won in a game in which I picked them to win. So I'm going to pick them again here to win 25-14 at home over the Atlanta Falcons.
Well, I think the Falcons, yes, they had a big win last week versus the Colts, but I don't think they'll have a good week again. The Bears look like they have a chance to win a game this weekend. So I'm going to take the Bears to win 18-12. That'll be my final. 18-12. Bears have it.
Yeah, let's see how Bijan Robinson does. You know, he's been starting to get a lot more touches in the Atlanta offense, so he might be able to carry some people in their fantasy championship week. And then be careful, though. Be careful about starting Justin Fields against an underrated Atlanta defense,
Absolutely.
by the way. By the way, speaking of it, Justin Fields in Atlanta, maybe that's where he plays next year if the Bears get rid of Justin Fields. Maybe he goes to Atlanta.
True.
He would be a perfect fit there with the way their offense is. Once they get Arthur Smith out of there, get an offensive-minded head coach in there with Justin Fields, that could be a match made in heaven for the Atlanta Falcons.
Absolutely.
But anyways, getting a little too far ahead of ourselves. Next up, the Titans taking on the Texans, an AFC South matchup, 1 o'clock on Fox. These two teams played just 2 weeks ago, with the Texans stunning the Titans in overtime, 19-16 with Case Keenum. Houston came back down to earth last week, though, with a 14-point loss to the Cleveland Browns. Houston needs this game. They need it badly. They have to win here at home against the Tennessee Titans. They are a 5.5-point favorite. CJ Stroud has cleared the concussion protocol, so it looks like in all likeliness he's going to be back this week for the Houston Texans. And I'm going to pick the Texans to win 28-23, just under the 5.5-point spread that they have. So, and another crossover game, by the way. Two AFC teams playing on Fox. But Eli, who do you think is going to win?
Let me just say this real quick. The Texans will make the playoffs, and they will go far in the playoffs. Mark my words. So, I'm going to take the Texans to win 26-23 in a very close game.
Next up, 1 o'clock on CBS, a big matchup in the AFC. Two teams that are fighting for those last two wildcard spots. And the Colts, by the way, are still in the AFC South playoff, in the AFC South picture. That just gave the game away. We're about to talk about the Colts and the Raiders, 1 o'clock on CBS. The game is in Indianapolis. The road, though, and this rivalry, though, the last 5 games have gone to the road team. So the Colts looking to break that streak today. And, well, I'm just gonna run with the Colts the rest of the season. They are my team. I can't pick against them anymore. Yeah. I'm gonna take the Colts here 20-17. It looks like there's a good chance that both Michael Pittman and Braden Smith will be back this week. That is huge, but I'm not going to underestimate the Raiders, though. They are a very good team, and Antonio Pierce should absolutely 100% be the new permanent head coach there in Vegas. He has done a phenomenal job with the Raiders, and I'm very impressed with the way Antonio Pierce has looked.
Absolutely. And the Raiders are going to have a great game.
Yes, they are.
We'll have an even better one. And because they're still trying to fight for that playoff spot, I am taking the Indianapolis Colts to win 21-18.
Yeah, definitely not going to count out the Raiders. I mean, I would not be surprised if they won the game. But...
No, I'm not going to count them out either. But considering the loss with the Colts, I think they need to bounce back, and I think they will still make the playoffs. And I think they'll make it far in the playoffs.
I hope so, Eli. I really do. It's been a long time since the Colts have been, the team they were in the 2000s with Peyton Manning. All right, next up, a game that will affect the Colts heavily. Panthers-Jaguars, 1 o'clock on CBS. Jacksonville, a 6.5-point favorite at home. Carolina currently has the worst record in the NFL, but obviously they will not have a first overall pick because the Bears have their first-round pick. Trevor Lawrence is, I think, going to be questionable to play. He's got a shoulder injury. You'd think Jacksonville would win this game, right? They are in position to win the AFC South. They have a very talented team, but you know what? I believe in miracles, just like Al Michaels said back in 1980 in the Miracle on Ice. So give me the Carolina freaking Panthers on the road in Jacksonville, 14-6 to get their third win of the season. Come on, Carolina, let's go. I have to root for you guys in the first place because if you beat Jacksonville and we beat the Raiders, then we're in first place in the AFC South. So let's go, Carolina. Please.
And that's your upset?
My upset of the week, the Carolina Panthers over the Jacksonville Jaguars. Eli, I'm just going to assume you're going to pick the Jaguars because you probably think I'm crazy.
I don't think you're crazy because I had the Panthers first. For my upset pick of the week, give me the Panthers to win in a very low-scoring game, 12-9. If you think Jacksonville's going to win, think again. They're on a losing streak. And the Panthers, they've been looking pretty good lately. And I think in Duval, they will get the win. So give me the Carolina Panthers to upset Jacksonville 12-9.
Yes, Eli, you're on the same page as me. And also, I don't know if you saw, but during the Panthers game last week, Mike Tolbert, the former Panthers running back, broke the Panthers drum during the pregame, banging the drum, busted it open and showed on NFL Red Zone by Scott Hansen. I was laughing so hard. It was so funny. But the Panthers are going to win this week. Let's go, Carolina. Let's go beat Jacksonville on the road and make a statement. Next up, a game that will not be an upset. 1 o'clock on Fox, the Rams and the Giants. The Rams 5.5-point favorites. I just gave away my pick. I'm taking the Rams 37-6. I'm not spending a lot of time on this one.
No.
I'm giving the Rams a 31-point win on the road. They're going to make a statement over the Giants.
Tyrod Taylor starting for the Giants. It could go right back easily to Tommy DeVito or some other guy we don't even know of that probably is from Jersey anyways. So we're going to go with anyways. The Rams, who've been looking hot, and unfortunately we'll get a playoff spot. Rams 28-18, the final.
Yeah, before you know it, we're gonna have some guy for the Giants named Nicky Nicholson starting by next week. But
it's not funny because it's true because he could start.
Yeah, yeah. All right. All right.
These days.
Yeah. All right. We still have 3 more 1 o'clock games to cover. There's a lot of 1 o'clock games this week. Next up, 1 p.m. on Fox. The Cardinals and the Eagles battle it out. By the way, the Rams can clinch a playoff spot if they win and Seattle loses, by the way. So the Rams can clinch a playoff spot this week. The Jaguars can also, if they win and the Colts and the Texans lose. And that's it on the playoff spots that I've seen so far. Next up, 1 o'clock on Fox, the Cardinals and the Eagles. Philly, a 10.5-point favorite at home. Not surprising. Start off with you, Eli. Who are you going with in this game that should be very exciting? It was an exaggeration.
Or was it, though?
Yes.
Was it? Okay.
Yes.
Either way, for my lock of the week, give me the Eagles 42-21. There's no time I need to spend on this. The Cardinals stink. Eagles are the better team. Give me the Eagles 42-21.
I'm not spending a lot of time on this either. Eagles win it 42-24. One step closer to the NFC East division title. I had a bit of a brain freeze there. But yeah, the Eagles are going to win the NFC East, especially with the Cardinals and the Giants making up their final 2 games. And they're going to win this week over the Cardinals as the Cardinals inch closer to a top 3 draft pick. Next up, 1 o'clock on Fox. This game could very well determine the winner of the NFC South. The Saints and the Buccaneers. 1 p.m. on Fox. This game getting national coverage with Kevin Burkhardt, Greg Olsen calling it. Tampa Bay, the 2.5-point favorites. Tampa Bay on a 4-game winning streak. Todd Bowles has emerged maybe for a coach of the year in the discussion. Baker Mayfield could be the comeback player of the year, honestly. He's played that well. And you know what? I don't believe in the Saints. Give me the Tampa Bay Buccaneers by 13 points, 31-18. And if they win, and if Tampa Bay wins, by the way, they clinch the NFC South for the 3rd straight year. Let's go, Bucs. Let's go, Baker Mayfield. Give me Tampa Bay to win this game.
Buccaneers 24-21. Saints should not win. Buccaneers look better. Baker Mayfield's answer. Not saying they'll go far in the playoffs, but they will win the game. So give me the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 24-21.
By the way, guys, I'm sorry. I made a mistake on one of my things. The Bucs is actually going to be my survivor pick of the week. I'm sorry, I made a mistake.
Okay.
I just said the Eagles, but I forgot I took them last week. So
yes.
I was going to pick the Bucs. I just put in the wrong slots. That's why I said.
Okay. So yeah.
Eagles. Yeah.
So you picked them. I was like, you picked them last week, Jack.
Well, then why didn't you say anything?
You didn't say it. The private chat you. I guess you didn't see the message.
Oh no, I didn't see the message. Yeah, I know. I didn't. Sorry, guys.
Oh well, folks. That's live TV for you.
Yeah,
or live YouTube for you.
It's okay. Next up, 1 o'clock on Fox, a game where there's going to be a sea of red, as there is always in Washington, but it's going to be 49er fans. As the 49ers take on the Commanders, 1 o'clock on Fox. San Fran, a 13-point favorite on the road, actually. We have 2 teams now. 2 teams are favored by 13 this week, San Fran and Buffalo. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this one. In my lock of the week, the 49ers win it 45-10. 45-10. And the 49ers clinch the top seed in the NFC if Detroit and Philly both lose.
Do I even need to make my pick? Because we already know the 49ers are winning 28-17. That's it. 49ers win.
I'm surprised you have it that close, but yeah.
That close, so because who says the Commanders may not do good? You know, it's the end of the season. The teams always do bad, always do good at the end of the season. So not saying that the 49ers are losing, but I'm not going to say it's going to be a blowout game either. So yeah.
Next up, finally, we're in the 4 o'clock slate. 4:05 on Fox. A game Eli will definitely be paying attention to. The Steelers and the Seahawks in Seattle.
Red zone. Scott Hansen. You better have it on.
Seattle, 3.5-point favorites at home. I'm taking the Pits. No, I'm just kidding. I'm taking the Seahawks to win 23-18.
You scared me. If you picked it, I would have to leave.
Okay, no, I'm taking the Seahawks. They're just the better team, the hotter team. And no matter whether it's Geno Smith or Drew Lock, Seattle's going to win. And Seattle's defense, very impressive the last couple of weeks. So give me Seattle to win.
I think you know this one. For my survivor pick of the week, give me the Seattle Seahawks beating the Pittsburgh Steelers by a close one, 24-20. Not saying it's going to be easy. Not saying it's going to be difficult. But just right in the middle. So Steelers win 24-20. Survivor pick of the week.
I can't believe you waited that long to use the Seattle for your survivor pick. But to be fair, I've not used the Colts yet either. But all right.
Because the rest of the season, I didn't trust Seattle. Now it's like the time where it's like, they're always fighting for that final playoff spot like usual every year, and they always make it, and they will make it. So
yeah, I agree.
It's the right time to lock and survivor it in And I got a really tough one to make next week about who's choosing for Survivor. So
Yeah, because we don't know what's going to happen in Week 18. We don't know who's going to sit or who's not going to sit.
that's
Next
the
up,
issue.
425 on CBS. We have two nobodies at quarterback playing. The Chargers and the Broncos. Easton stick against Jared Stidham. I'm so sorry if you live in any of these two areas and this game is going to be on your TV.
It's unfortunate. So sorry.
Broncos win this 27-17. I literally don't have much else to say. These are two very boring teams, and I will not be paying close attention to this game. I'll tell you that right now.
I'm surprised I'm still picking them. Denver Broncos 18-15.
Yeah, Eli started to pick the Broncos a lot more now. I can't believe it. We're like entering into a
Because
alternate
Russell
universe.
Wilson is gone.
Yeah,
So
that's
I begin to like the Broncos again. Because now it's like, okay, well, thanks for all the good picks. Now I got to return the favor and say thank you by keep picking them to win.
All right, 425 on CBS, the national game here in Week 17. It should be the Dolphins-Ravens, but it's going to end up being the Bengals and the Chiefs.
They should be
Kansas
really
City,
flexing that game.
Yeah, Kansas City is 7-point favorite. I know the Chiefs have struggled the last couple weeks, but I don't know. I think they're going to find a way to win this game, but it's going to be because of their defense, not because of their crappy offense. 17-14, a win for the Kansas City Chiefs, who would clinch the division if they win today or win on Sunday. I'm sorry.
The Chiefs lost last week to the Raiders, but they will win this week against the Bengals. Give me the Chiefs in a close one, 28-25.
Yeah, we both have a 3-point win for the Chiefs.
And the one game that we actually disagree on.
I know. I can't. We've agreed on every single one of these
every
games
game
now,
except for Sunday Night Football, 8:20 p.m. on
NBC. Yep, one of the best theme musics in the NFL. Packers, Vikings, a historic rivalry. If this game's on primetime like every single year, pretty much. Week 17, both teams at 7-8. Obviously, whoever wins this game is still going to be alive in the playoffs, and whoever loses is going to be pretty much eliminated. This is a game that it's going to be really hard to decide. We have Jordan Love going up against Jaron Hall, but I think Minnesota's defense is going to solidify this one, and we know how bad Green Bay's defense is. They just let the Carolina Panthers, the worst team in the NFL, score 30 points for the first time all season. So that is why I'm going to take the Minnesota Vikings in a close one, 21-20.
For the final pick of 2023.
That's right.
Give me the Green Bay Packers to beat the Minnesota Vikings 22-21. Happy New Year.
That's right. Happy New Year. And by the way, Eli and I's battle with these picks will not be decided here in Week 17. It's going to be decided throughout the playoffs because we're within 2 games of each other. And this week is not really going to affect much. We're going to be within 1 game or within 3 games, unless Minnesota and Green Bay tie. Like, I feel like they might because it just feels that way. But
against the playoff spot, so I'll be happy.
They tied back.
I don't think they will.
They tied back in 2018 in week 2.
We have not had a tie this season, so I hope it's not this one.
I can't believe that we have not. Last year we had 2 ties. We had the Colts and the Texans in week 1, and then we had the Giants and the Commanders in week 13. Yes. That's right. Yeah, we've had a couple of ties in the NFL the last couple of years. The year before it was only the Steelers and the Lions in week 10. I don't think we had any ties in 2020. So
yeah,
but yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting though to see what ends up happening. But that's gonna do it here for this edition of the 12th Horseshoe Podcast. Have a great New Year, everyone. We'll see you in 2024. That feels crazy to say. Jack Rose, Eli Weintraub signing off. Enjoy the Thursday night football game tonight, or whatever you want to watch. Go Colts and go Rangers, the best team in the NHL right now.
Go Seahawks, go Devils, go Seahawks.